Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started here. Welcome to the Find and Select Better Materials CEU, brought to you by Ecomedes and the U.S. Green Building Council. My name is Paul Shariari. I'm the founder and chief innovation officer here at Ecomedes. I've been a sustainability consultant and technologist for the last 25 years. I used to be a former faculty member with the U.S. Green Building Council and served with that group for 5 years and trained around 15,000 people around the world on how LEED works. And I'm really excited to show you guys the platform that we've built to make a lot of the workflow a lot easier and more simple for you to do your work. So we're really happy to share that with you. And the tool that we're going to show you today is free. So some housekeeping. We're going to be recording this call. I'll be sending out a recording link after this, along with all the slides and this information on how to register for the GBCI General CEU available for this course. The course number is right there, the course creator. You can just self-report this work and get 1 CE hour for your LEED AP for B, B, and C today at the end of the class. I'll send you guys out the link either by today or if not by tomorrow. Some pre-presentation poll questions I'm going to serve up so I can get a better feel for you guys as an audience. So I'm going to launch that poll right now. And if you guys could answer it for me, that'd greatly appreciate it. Give me a little sense of what role you play, how often you search for sustainability data, how many hours you'd say you spend searching for that eco data when working on an entire LEED project on a scale of 1 to 4. How difficult is that work to search, find, organize, and document LEED compliant product specifications? So if you wouldn't mind sharing that with me, I'd appreciate it. Thanks to those of you that are doing that right now. It'll help me get a better feel for you guys and where the level of interest is today. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. Thanks to those of you that have filled this out. That really helps. All right. Great participation. Thank you for those of you who did that. So here I'll share with you guys the results. So many of you guys do this work on a daily basis or quarterly basis. Some of you guys are spending 20 hours or less, 20 to 50 hours. Some of you are spending 100 hours plus. And it's nobody said it was easy. So that's usually what we get out of these polls. The reason why we built this platform is to make it a lot easier for you and simplify that process. So without further ado, we'll kind of jump right on in and show you guys the course. So the objectives is we're going to show you how the Better Materials program works for the GBCI. We'll show you their streamlined verified for LEED program that they had instituted a couple of years back, show you how manufacturers participate in that program. We'll review LEED credits that require product transparency and documentation through this portal, and then specifically how you can use the Ecomedes platform to discover building products that meet those project sustainability goals, conduct comparison of products between one another, analyze energy and water impact of buildings, and then create documentation for LEED products on our platform. So to kind of get started, the Better Materials program was created by the USGBC to do 3 main things: accelerate, simplify, and scale the applicability of LEED to the built environment. So they really wanted to make it easier, faster, and help more of it get done, which is certainly something that a lot of folks are facing, as over $60 trillion worth of real estate in the world has been pledged to be carbon neutral and more sustainable by 2050. So a lot of work for us to go do to make a lot of these existing buildings and new buildings up to the right scale of net zero and beyond. So the industry challenge of doing that, and I'm an engineer by training, I went to the University of Florida. A lot of the work that I was doing early on in my career was looking for data. So GBCI and USGBC would require me and the rest of the project team members to go out and get product documentation. And before this Better Materials platform, people were going to manufacturers, going to lots of different sites like UL, Origin, Ecomedes, Building Materials Scouts, Sustainable Minds, On Greening, a lot of different sites out there. It was a repetitive process because every time we went and find data within carpet or flooring or drywall or ceilings or furniture, plumbing systems, lighting platforms, HVAC, we're always kind of going back, and what I felt it was like Groundhog's Day. We're always going back on the scavenger hunt, looking for data, trying to go across all the different products in a building. A commercial building, on average, will have 1,500 to 2,500 unique products in it. So a lot of scavenger hunting for this work, coming back to a project team, lots of different players on that side of the ball, and we have to figure out what all that information is and then ultimately submit it to the GBCI. So when the GBCI and the USBC endeavored upon this Better Materials program, they did some research and they found on average, a project team has to access at least 25 pages of product documentation and interpret up to 45 parameters. And this has to be repeated on every product that's being put on a LEED project. So that's really, really a lot of information that is being sought after. And this was one of the founding theses of Ecomedes when we got it started back in 2016. So what their idea was, why don't we create a better materials solution where the project team can search through a GBCI portal called Better Materials, and then that portal will link us to the best of results from Origin, Spot, Ecomedes, Building Materials Spout, and Sustainable Minds. And product manufacturers can give their data over directly or through one of these other aggregation platforms to make it a lot more streamlined and make it easier for people to find the data that they want. And GBCI is kind of acting, if you've ever used Travelocity or Expedia or any of these kind of aggregation sites, Airbnb, it's one site with one search that actually searches lots and lots of different sites for you immediately. And that's kind of how Better Materials is organized. And today we're going to talk about how the Ecomedes solution helps you specifically do this work. So the way that it works is there's one general search bar. If you go to bettermaterials.gbci.org, type in the product category you're looking for, hit search. And what essentially is going to happen is that search is then passed along to us as one of the technology providers. And all 5 of these sources will spin up a search based on whatever that previous search was asking for, in this case, chairs. So what you type in are flooring, you're going to get flooring results from Ecomedes, Spot, Origin, Material Scout, and Sustainable Minds. So we do it a little differently, each one of us, depending on how much data we have and how much information we have about the product or how we've mapped it to LEED criteria. But nonetheless, this is how that works. So you type in one, and then basically across the top of your browser at bettermaterials.gbci.org, you'll see basically 5 or 6 different tabs up at the top that send you to those results. And today we're going to talk about how the Ecomedes results are formulated and how they're pulling data together for you automatically. Verified for LEED is another extension of this idea where they're actually having the GBCI review teams look at the actual underlying data from the manufacturer, no different than they would on a project. But rather than doing it after the project has already bought something and you're documenting what you did, this is a way for the manufacturers to give this data directly over to the GBCI and have a single page with all the LEED compliance credit contributions already indicated on this document. So that's one way that they can do it. Manufacturers participated in the pilot, and it was a fairly successful test of whether or not this would work for the manufacturers, giving over the data directly to the GBCI reviewer so that reviewer could actually rule upon the yes or no of those credits on those credit contributions, and immediately let somebody searching for a product that's compliant know for sure that it's already been verified for a LEED review of that element. So today what we're going to talk about is the Better Materials platform that the Ecomedes team has created. It's called materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. It's a platform orientation, and everything on this product platform at this URL for Ecomedes has already been pre-vetted for compliance with LEED v4 and v4.0 and v4.1. So everything that you're going to see on this URL has already been pre-evaluated through our credit structure analysis for documentation. When we do the live demo, I'll show you how that platform works. But we're already vetting the documentation. We're getting it from over 81 different data sources. So it's a free platform. It looks like this on the landing page. The URL is very straightforward, materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. It's free, doesn't cost anything to join. The only reason why we need you to log in is so we can save your project work. So as you're coming together and you're grabbing products, putting them into a project, we'll keep all that information for you. And as that information is being updated by the manufacturer or the certification body, that automatically happens on the back end without you having to do any more stuff. So those PDFs, those links to the Cradle to Cradle certificate or the EPD or the HPD is always going to be updated based on a monthly cadence. We curate only LEED products on this project. We have other platforms that are not only LEED centric, but this one is 100% focused and dedicated to support LEED 4.1 and 4.0. All the certifications and eco-labels are updated monthly directly from their sources. Whenever we can, we'll actually give you the hyperlink back to that certificate online, so you can go grab that PDF or look at it live on their directory. It's a very straightforward product search and discovery, left-hand navigation like you typically expect, search by verified for LEED or rating system or category, CSI division, any certification eco-label that we have, or directly by brand. And there's a search window up here that you just type something in. Inside of our tool, we have some apples to apples comparisons. Since we're a structured database, everything can be looked at side by side. So if you find some products that you're interested in, you can actually look at all their data already organized in a structured database. We do product analysis for LEED, so you can look up whether or not this product will comply with a LEED credit or not. We also have some baked in ROI, energy and water calculators for things related to Energy Star and WaterSense. We can do project level documentations. You can gather things from 10, 15, 25 different manufacturers, 100 products, hit a button. We do project level documentation, so you can do any of the LEED documentation for a wide range of products. Don't have to go shuffling through all those PDFs. All that stuff's organized on the back end for you. And then you can actually look at your project management dashboard to see all your projects in one place. And we kind of summarize all the stuff that you've done. You can create as many projects as you want. There's no limit. Do it as much as you want. We're really excited to be able to support your work and all the hard efforts you guys put in to do LEED projects in the marketplace. So what we're going to cover today is how our platform specifically addresses the couple credits within materials and resources, indoor environmental quality that relate to LEED, BD&C, new construction, V4.1. So we're going to talk about materials and resources and environmental product declarations, sourcing of raw materials, material ingredients, and then under indoor environmental quality, we'll look at how the low emitting materials credit is worked up and how we provide you that data automatically into your workflow. So the first step in the platform is just up at the very top. We have a verified for LEED documentation beta. 427 products were part of that beta. They're organized in product categories. 15 manufacturers participated in the pilot, and their products all were evaluated by GBCI for compliance with LEED V4 and 4.1. So here you basically can just click on that filter. LEED verified for LEED is up at the top. You'll see all the results. You can then sort it by product category or certification eco label or one of the brands that participated. They're all alphabetized. Next to the number in our left-hand navigation, you'll see things in parentheses. That just tells you how many products are at the end of that filtration. So if you go in here, you have 417, but inside here we have 49 that are biopreferred. We have 962, I think, that are declared. So all the stuff in parentheses is just telling you how many products are available from that other further filtration or designation. So before you filter even further, you kind of know what's going to happen in terms of your total results available. So to get started, materials and resources, the first credit that we're going to talk about is the one related to environmental product declarations. There's 2 points available. One option is just dealing with 20 different permanently installed products sourced from at least 5 different manufacturers, meaning one of the disclosure criteria below. So there's a wide variety of different unique ways of looking at an EPD or an LCA. What we do is we take a look at our database and find products that have matching elements. Option number 2 is a little optimization around the embodied carbon or LCA. Again, a little table from the LEED workbook. It has all the different variants, what counts for a half a point, a full point, 1.5 points, or 2 in terms of product count. So even though you have a product, if it has a certain type of EPD, it might only count for half a product. So there's a little bit of a wonky bit of math here, but what we do is inside of our tool, we have EPDs, LCA, we have data coming in from a wide variety of program operators. Also, EC3 sends us data. So it kind of indicates how many products come along with the designation. You can further refine these results. I think it's about 32,000 total products that have linked EPDs or LCA data in our current database. Again, this is changing every single month based on new updates from the data sources. But you can further refine it by category, subcategory, kind of an EPD. You can go product specific, industry wide. Those are down here in this left-hand filter. When we do the live demo, I'll show you how that works. And then you can also search by brand. So if you know any of those other action elements, you'll be able to get to that information. And again, we're serving all that up for you, and we'll evaluate how it contributes to that matrix. Materials and resources, sourcing of raw materials. There's 2 points available here. This is done by cost. So in our tool, you can actually type in quantity, unit price, or just a lump sum and then put in the bid price of that product data. But here we're trying to get to either a 15% threshold or a 30% threshold. And that's going to relate to extended producer responsibility, bio-based material. USDA is a partner of ours, so we have their database. Wood products with FSC are in our system. Materials reuse or recycled content. So if you go to our platform, you can search by biopreferred, FSC, recycled content. Again, all the products that meet these guidelines will be available to you as part of the left-hand navigation. You can further refine that search into categories like paint or wall cuttings or furniture or flooring, further refine whatever design work or consulting work you're doing on your project. But again, within the parentheses, it'll tell you, hey, there's 687 to choose from biopreferred, 1,900 from FSC, 383 that has certified recycled content. We just recently got the award from the EPA to do the recycled content database. So we'll be launching that later on next year, and we'll have all the recycled content data from the EPA, no different than how they publish Energy Star and WaterSense to the market. So we're really proud of doing that work, and all that data is going to flow right into the system along with many of our other platforms in the marketplace. The third credit we're going to talk about is material ingredients. So we have some options here about material ingredient reporting. Here we're also trying to get to 20 different permanently installed products from at least 5 different manufacturers. And there's a bunch of different data requirements you can go down the path of. ANSI BIFMA, which is part of Level. We can go down to a certain credit number, cradle to cradle certification, declare, red list free, LBC free, declared, FACS, global green tag, health product declarations, living product challenge, manufacturer inventory, and then a product lens certification. So many of these elements are already in our system. And with one click, you'll be able to get to the ANSI BIFMA level database, the cradle to cradle, declare HPDs, and living product challenge. Again, within some of these categories, there's like different levels. So C2C has platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. You can actually sort as a secondary filter by the level that you're looking at. With C2C, BIFMA level is also filterable like that, down to 1, 2, and 3. A lot of different ways to kind of further refine that task, but all these resources are available with one click under the certifications and eco-labels designation. So whatever you're looking for and hunting for, those data sources have a data feed with us, and we're serving that data up to you so you can easily use that information to better source and document your documentation on projects. Other option is the material ingredient optimization. So a lot of the same things, but at a higher level. So material ingredient screening and optimization plans, cradle to cradle, red list free, LBC red list free, HPDs that are optimized and verified criteria, living product challenge certified, and then international alternative compliance path with REACH and PhD reports. We recently worked with the Global Green Tag to bring in their API. So I believe next month, at Greenbuild or in December, we'll be bringing in their data as a new source, bringing that up. So C2C, declare, HPD, living product challenge, all of those are available to you again in your left-hand navigation. All of the product data available from those registries is baked right in. Not all the certification bodies and eco-labels give us pictures. So sometimes you'll see really nice pictures that came along with the certification, or the manufacturer gave it to us directly. But if you don't see a picture, we still have links to the documentation. If it shows up on our left-hand navigation, you will see the document or a link back to wherever that document exists. Not all of them manage images, but we're working on always extending that value and providing you at least one product image for everything in our database. But we have 850,000 or so products, so it's always a constant struggle looking for the right image to make that a little easier. The last credit we'll talk about before we go into a live demo is the low emitting materials credit. So here we're dealing with 2 product categories, 3, 4, or 5, to be able to get to up to 4 points in this credit category. And what we have to go do is take a look at the different points evaluations within product categories and looking for any underlying information. So CDPH is one, ultra low urea formaldehyde from the EPA is another, carb compliance or South Coast Air Quality Management District. A lot of these different rules exist. And what we try to do is serve up the data from within these rules and evaluate whatever has met these criteria. ANSI BIFMA is in there for furniture, composite wood. So as you go through the product categories in your project, if you find these VOC emissions valuations or certifications like Green Guard and Indoor Advantage from SCS, you'll be able to actually supply that information. And that information is one click away directly from our stuff. So Indoor Advantage from SCS, UL Green Guard in its entirety, BIFMA level, all those are available with one click, and then you'll see all the products. A lot of the products that we've already talked about in this earlier part of this CU, they also carry these kind of certifications. So you probably will find a product with an EPD and an HPD, and it'll have the off-gassing credits. So a lot of products can actually do double duty across 3 or 4 different LEED credits. And that's another nice feature of the way that our system's organized. You can actually click multiple filters and then find products that meet 1 or more of those criteria to give you the most amount of tools at your disposal to meet the LEED credit requirements. So we're going to jump into a live demo. But before I do that, I have some additional poll question. No, actually, that'll be at the end. So I'll do that at the end. I'm going to allow you guys to talk. I'm going to go out of the webinar, pure webinar mode, and allow you guys to all speak. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear them now before we go live into a demo. So I'm clicking on this to allow you guys to talk. If you have any questions, please use the chat or use the QA feature, or feel free to just unmute yourself, and I'd love to hear your voices. Sometimes it's hard to deliver a CU without any feedback. So if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
Hi, this is Ambar with Spacesmith, and I have a question. Is this where the Mindful Materials database is migrating to through this platform? Is that where all this information is being consolidated into?
Yeah, so we are going to be the backbone for the new Mindful Materials portal. I think we're launching that at Greenbelt. So yes, the same backbone that runs the Better Materials program for the HBC is going to be used for the Mindful Materials CMF.
And will they have the same products? Will they essentially be the same libraries, or do they feed into each other?
Yeah, we have one big mega database called products.ecomedes.com that doesn't have any like specific curation for a client. So it has everything, no matter how you like it: LEED, well, loving, building, challenge. Mindful Materials is a portal that we're putting on our technology stack that's only focused on the way that Mindful Materials has structured their new common material framework. So it'll only feature products that have kind of made it through that filter. The back-end database will all probably feature a lot of the same products. So you'll see the same thing. There's never a delay. It's fully synchronized and it's fully syndicated. So if the product is updated from Interface, it'll be updated on Interface's Ecomedes site, Mindful Materials, Materials for LEED, the GSA. They all feature and feed from the same set.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's one single sign-on. So if you create an account on any of our sites, the same login, credential, and password will work on all the sites. So if you guys want to go to your live URL, if you have another monitor, you're more than welcome to kind of follow along as I do this, but it's just materialsforleed.ecomedes.com, and it's free, and we'll just jump right on in. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. So let me go into the live demo. Let's see, why is it not going to the stuff? Maybe I've got to stop sharing. So here it is, materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. So I'm going to go through a couple different ways that the vast majority of our users do it. So if you wanted to sign up, if you logged in, you didn't have an account, you just go up here to the upper right-hand corner, fill out your setup, and it'll recognize an email address from you. You could do it like that, put in any password. It doesn't need to be tied to your US GBC account. We're not linked yet in any type of a LEED online scenario. Once you log in with an account, it'll put your name in the upper right-hand corner. The first element that I can show you is the verified for LEED documentation. So with one click, you'll get 294 results. Here's a subcategory view. So if I wanted to finishes, and I can go into subcategories: acoustical ceiling tiles, adhesives, ceilings, floor coverings, floor tiles, paints and coatings, sealants. So if I wanted to say ceilings, I could see products from Armstrong. And then with one click down below here, even though Armstrong is the ceiling provider here, we can see that they have 49 that are bio-preferred, 116 that are declare, 117 that have EPDs, 116 that have HPDs, 2 that are living product challenge, and then they have Green Guard certification, Green Guard Gold certification. So the nice thing about the platform is every time you start pressing filters, it'll then further kind of bring down the total number of brands. Here, there's Armstrong Ceilings and Rockfon. So those are the 2 manufacturers that participated in this program. If I clicked on Armstrong Ceilings, now I got just the stuff for Armstrong Ceilings. And if I wanted to see only the things that had a declare certificate, I can further refine that effort. So if I click on the actual product baseball card, as I call them, you see the picture of the product, you see the name of the brand. There's a bunch of information: the carbon footprint URL, color swatches, edge profiles, master format number, product page link back to Armstrong. So if you want to go back to their website, you can actually go right to that product for 1912. You have shapes, you have LEED verification sheets. So since they participated, you can click on that and you'll see that verification LEED document that the GBCI created for that product. Everywhere that we can send you to the actual source of that information, we will. So product EPD, one click, you go to it. You don't have to go searching for that on their website or on certifying body's website. HPD, same thing. I click that, I go right to it. I'll get the HPD from Armstrong. And then if I want living building challenge declare certificate, here's the declare certificate. And then Green Guard, same thing. It'll open up the Green Guard certificate. So within one product, I've found a bunch of documentation at my fingertips without me having to go do any kind of real deep digging, including a hyperlink back to their product page. So I'll go through here and close these out and just show you the last part. So the scavenger hunt for the data is one of the first things that we set out to do, and we feel that we've very strongly done that better than anyone else. What's nice is you can actually add it to a project. So I'm going to add it to a project here just to show you how I'm going to go back and look at it a little bit later. So I'm going to put it in here and I'll just hit save. And now what I've done is taken all this data, including all these hyperlinks, and put it into a project folder that I can get to, and I'll do that in a little bit. So you can add it to comparison as well. So if I go back in here and I go to add to comparison on the little baseball card, I can add these 3 products. You'll see the little blue outline gets added. And if I view comparison, it'll show me the product details back to back. So here there's a difference in thickness, and here's some other additional information. So because we're a structured database, we can kind of bring those things up and show them side by side really, really quickly. On a computer screen, you can get up to 6 products side by side available to see right then and there. If you go back, and if you ever want to reset all your searches, you just click on the main logo at the very top and it'll kind of refresh everything. As I said, you can search by rating system. So if I was interested in LEED V41 and I was doing an interiors project, I click on commercial interiors. I want to find products that meet water efficiency guidelines. So here, all the products are being evaluated, and now I have some certifications to look at. I have 6 things that have declared, 284 that have EPDs, 4 that have HPDs, 37 that have LCAs, and then 40,000, the vast majority of them have water sense. So if I'm interested in a certain specific category, I can go further into plumbing systems and then go into, say, single flush toilets. And I can further look at 1G toilets, maybe 1 gallon per flush toilets, or high efficiency toilets. There's other ways I can constantly go in and further sort. And then I can also see all the brands that have something available from me. So I'm going to go in here and say, I want to add this Kohler to a comparison. I'm going to go look at this Cortana. Let's see, let's find another brand, Briggs and Toto. So now I've got these 4 in a comparison. With 1 click, I got to take out my ceiling tiles. But just that quickly, without going to any other buddy's website, I've found some Toto toilets, a Corona, a Briggs, and a Kohler. And now I see all that information side by side. I used to spend weeks and months of my days, early days in my career, just building spreadsheets to kind of go do this for my clients, and then trying to make better decisions around that, build all that information out. So here, within 1 click, you can kind of get to the information you want, see what you're looking at, see what maybe interests you in the process. And if I go back to this document, I can also go down here and pick a product that I might be interested in. If I go to the actual product detail sheet, I see all the information, but in the watts and water categories, I actually can do a little quick water budget calculation. So if I wanted a 5-year analysis, I have, say, maybe 250 male and 250 female occupants in my building, kind of like a LEED water budget. I need to go buy 20 of these toilets. The price is $270. The base unit price for a cheap toilet would be $150. It's 1.6 gallons per flush. The one I just picked was 1 from WaterSense. And now it'll do me a very quick, it costs $2,800 more in October of 2022, but I'll break even with this pricing in June of 2023. So I've saved, over the course of this 5 years, $1.5 million by those 500 people every day not using as much water because they're not using the 1.6, they're using the 1. Here you can change the baseline. So if you wanted to do 1.28, you can do that and it'll rerun the calculations. It'll delay the ROI break even, but it'll show you that you'll still save 730,000 gallons of water. So we do it by month, by year, and whatever the total length of analysis is. If I was doing maybe this for a university system, it might have a 15-year payback. With 1 check of the number, it'll actually recalculate for you and show you it'll save 2 million gallons of water. So a lot of my clients were always asking me, Paul, that's great, but show me that upfront cost differential and show me the long-term savings. This basically added calculator kind of makes that process a little bit easier. You can always adjust advanced options like how many days per week is it operating. So it might be 5 days a week if it's a commercial office building. If it's, say, a hospital, it'd be 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. If you're doing a school, you could say it's 5 and we only operate 40 weeks out of the year. So automatically all these calculations I used to have to do all the time, all those are baked in right here, and you can get that information. Again, if this product meets your guidelines, I just want to put it into a project, I'm going to just add it to the CEU, hit save. All this information will get put into that other project, and I can kind of do my project work.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody stop me anytime.
where is the pricing information coming from? Are you getting water bills from a particular, okay,
Yeah, so you can change the water sewage rate right here,
okay,
adjust it to whatever you have. And the unit pricing for the products sometimes comes from the manufacturer. Not very many of them in the commercial world put pricing into the database because they have different discounts and distribution rates, but some like Toto do actually have a list price put in there. Another way to kind of get that better is just you go up here, highlight this, and if you go search on Google, you can actually just use Google to do it, and usually it'll pop up, you know, shopping options for you. So that's another way to kind of use Google's power and find what makes sense, at least from a budgetary standpoint, do those early design evaluations based on that. So that's another way to do it if you can't find the price. But we are working right now with a very large plumbing distributor that will be backfilling all of our sites with a lot of plumbing product data because they are one of the largest in the world. So that data should be flowing in by next year.
this is fantastic.
Thank you. I love hearing that. So another way to do it is search by categories. So we have categories. Every major category is in here. And if you click on, like, say, construction materials, all the relevant subcategories pop up. So this is a lot of different stuff. As you guys know, there's thousands of categories in our industry, but we've tried to do as best we can. And we've also used a lot of what the manufacturers have given us. So you go to like gypsum, here's a USG set of products that are in here. You click on that, you'll get all the contact information, all their technical data is in one spot. So it's really, really easy to find the data. And again, all the places where you need to pop out and go find it, we've already gone and mapped it. So you have access to it. If you need to see it, you can always download it. Or if you're just interested in, you know, adding it to a project, you can just say, okay, this meets guidelines. Again, everything on this platform has already been vetted for LEED compliance. So you kind of know with certainty that you're going to be able to do what you need to do on a project. The most powerful part of search and the most used part of search is just searching by certifications and eco-labels. So like I said, if you're hunting EC3 data or EPD data or LCA data around embodied carbon, with those three subfilters, you'll get 38,000 results. And every product category is listed, and every single brand that has data within that element is there. You can also check out what's been verified. So declare verified, HPD verified, LCA certified. And then you can also search by EPD kind. So industry standard, industry wide, mutually recognized product specific, and then product specific EPD. So if I clicked on that, then I can see every single brand in America that has one of those type of documents available to them. So if I picked Armstrong ceilings, I'll get to that that designation. If I just want to go back and not do Armstrong ceilings, that'll reshuffle the sort, and I can find everything from, say, like Mohawk that has that same thing. And again, if I want to check it out, any of these product pages, we give you a wide list. And in some cases, there's like 12 different data points. So when I started this platform, we had 15 attributes, and that's all we needed to do all LEED documentation around the world. We now have 3,000 independent attributes to do the work that we do as a database. So imagine a spreadsheet about 850,000 rows long, and we have 3,000 or so columns to the right that actually house all this data. And in this case, we've matched up and onboarded, like a highway on-ramp, all this data for this one product from Mohawk called angled perception. Without a tool like this, you'd have to go basically hand map all this stuff and have a pretty wild looking Google Drive folder on your desktop. So any questions on kind of how search works? You also can just search for an entire catalog. So if I typed in Herman Miller, you'll see brand name, product name, a couple things pop up. We use what's called Elasticsearch to kind of think about what you're doing. It's not a perfect way of searching, but it's a very powerful way of trying to search out. So if I click on Herman Miller, I essentially now have 396 products, and every product that has Herman Miller as the brand is now available to you. And then every certification that a brand has to its name is all right here. So every one of the certifications, eco labels you might be looking for are all available to you right here. So you can kind of check those out.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Sure.
So my name is Madeline Hale, and I am wondering if how Ecomedes addresses certifications that either expire or expire. Is there any way to track that? Because when you're researching a lot of different materials, things expire, and
yeah,
like I noticed one of them that you were looking at looks like it expired September
Yeah.
First, does it stay on Ecomedes for a certain amount
So
of time?
we keep them on just because you might be doing a project and you might get around to documentation a year later, 6 months later. So we'll keep it in the system as long as people are still using on our project. If the brand takes it off, we'll take it off immediately if the certification body no longer sends it to us. So one of the things I want to show you is that as I hover over data, any data in Ecomedes, if I hover over it, it'll tell you who gave it to me, Herman Miller in this case, and the date. So it was updated on the 15th of October. So I go through here, almost all the data up at the top is all Herman Miller provided. I go to BIFMA level, this was provided by NSF on the 6th of October. If I go down to the EPD, it's NSF, and it provided on the 3rd of October. So a lot of this data comes in at different cadence. Where available, we'll actually show you when the validity date is for every single certificate that's out there. So that's one of the new requirements we're asking our data partners to do, is to put it in there. We will say if a product is no longer available or it's certification and we only have one certification, it's no longer valid, we'll likely take that off the system. So it can't be searched by anymore, but we will not take it out of the system, because if you were doing documentation and we removed it completely, it would actually break your documentation for your project. So what we've been told by the USGBC and LBC is that we should keep certifications up and live for at least 3 years, because some projects certify up to 36 months after their certificate of completion. So that's one of the things that we, unfortunately, as a legacy, have to kind of keep it around. But you're right, like this is going to expire on 11/9/2022. So this SCS certificate will likely get updated. And these data sources, like this case, SCS, they pulse us data every single month. So as soon as it turns to November, more than likely we'll get an update November 10th, which will be the day right after this thing expires. And we'll get a new replacement certificate.
Okay, so that you're saying that happens frequently, like it
Every
gets
month. Yeah, every source is updated at a minimum every single month, some more often than others.
Okay.
And they're not on the same date. If you notice, like I wish they all gave me the date on the 1st, but actually they give me data on every other day of the month. It's almost like they try to play a game with us. There's 81 sources, and I think no two, and we actually get different data sources and updates from people like SCS for different data elements. So Indoor Advantage might not update the same day that the SCS biodegradable certified gets updated. So that's a little bit of the magic that we try to deal with every day.
Thank you.
Yeah. And when you generate documentation in our system and you get that PDF generated, it'll tell you what date that was generated on. So, as of that date, the data that we had was vetted against the credit language of LEED or WELL of that timestamp as well.
Okay.
Great questions. So if you build out a project, let me just show you kind of what that looks like, just because I've been kind of playing around with it and pushing stuff in there. So this is, if you kind of keep adding more products and products and products into a project, you can actually put them in here like this, adjust whatever the number of quantities are, and everything could be like an each, or it could be a linear fit, depending on what kind of product we're talking about, square yards, if it's carpet. But you can actually put all them in there. And what's beautiful is that all the data underlying this is all just sitting in the back of our database. We figured you've kind of done the research, so now we're just going to take a look at it all at once. If products have energy calculations baked in on the product level, you'll be able to see that. Everything that saves water will be on a different chart, generating a gallons to dollars conversion. And this is energy, kilowatts to dollars. On the energy chart, we're going to be adding carbon later on in 2023. So you'll have operational carbon, operational energy in kilowatts, then operational carbon, then monthly savings. We'll be adding an embodied carbon calculator in 2023 that'll do the same thing for all the LCA data. And then down below, you can evaluate against as many of the rating systems as you want. In this case, just for LEED, because this is only a LEED-focused platform. And with one click, what we'll do is we'll get everything that we have about all these products in order. We'll evaluate how much you spent on them, and then it'll give you a report at a project level. How did you help out? How did you help out the project in terms of LEED, LEED CI, LEED retail, LEED data centers, whatever it was. It'll do a summary of energy impact and water impact of the month, year, and total gallons over whatever that analysis period. The analysis period is going to be the same for energy and water. So if you chose 5 years, this simulation will go for 5 years, 10 years, whatever you choose. And underneath that, every single one of the cut sheets that you would normally have to go out and gather and pull together by hand will all be underneath here. So you see all the data. You can always hide the data and the details and just see how this one specific product with 5,000 squares at $7.50 a square for $37,000, how it exactly contributed to your LEED CI project. So we not only show you the credit that it contributed to that we just already covered today, but I'll tell you why. So in this case, you got this because of an EPD. You got this many dollars because these were the percentages you provided in post-consumer. Here's the documentation source is 1.5 because it's an optimized HPD. Low emitting materials contributes, daylight and acoustical performance. So it's a really nice way of being able to get all that documentation. And when you're done, you can just hit download PDF. If you need to share that with your project team or anyone else, you'll be able to have the entire development overview. And what's nice about that PDF is anywhere in this document or this HTML that has actual hyperlinks still there, like view document source of this HPD or anything like that, those hyperlinks and all those external links live. So as this thing generates, it's a pretty long project. So it'll take a minute or two to render this PDF. It's downloading it to my desktop. Every one of those hyperlinks that you saw on the screen will also live as part of the PDF. So if I click on this PDF right here, and I go to one of these other subsets of data, where's one that has a link. So here's a document source link. So if I click on that, I get a little hand motion on my Mac. I click that button, it'll open up the HPD collaboratory repository. So it'll grab that document right wherever it sits, and you'll be able to go after those documents exactly wherever they reside. So here would be that declare certificate. So the project feature is really one of the most utilized factor on our platform for the US GBC is that you can do the individual documentation for product, but really it's a very powerful way of keeping all your stuff together. You can create as many projects as you want. It tells you the total number of SKUs, total number of units, the total cost if you put project in there. It'll tell you with a little icon, is it energy or water saving, estimated savings total between the two if you have both. And it'll show you which standards you've applied and you've analyzed the project to, and any other notes that you have. If you get to a project, you're like, okay, I don't need that one anymore, you can always just delete it out of your portfolio. And all of these projects and all the combined savings roll up to kind of like a green CV, if you would. So energy and water, we're going to be adding next year carbon as a summary. So you as a professional will know a little bit about how many gallons, how many kilowatts have I saved my customer, how many dollars did that result in. So if you ever get asked that question, which was something I got asked all the time, like, well, what are we going to save? I could tell the project team what I'm going to save them, but I could have had, I wish I had a way to go back in time and go do all the projects I did earlier in my career, but know kind of what the overall estimating savings potential was, because I think that is still a major driver for a lot of clients. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions. I know that was a lot, but it's fairly straightforward. If you guys want me to do a presentation like this for half an hour to your firm or a project team that you guys are working with, be happy to do that. All I ask is that you gather up at least 10 people that would get value out of that time spent together, and we can show them how to create an account and go through a couple of examples and product categories, kind of show them how to do the research they might want to do. Another way to research too is if you go in here and go say building finishes and say you go to a category like let's see, floor covering, non-carpet. So every single brand that's in here can be viewed in the number of products that they have, but also with just really quick research, you actually see with one click how many different certifications apply to that product category. So this kind of is a really quick way to always be able to pulse the marketplace and say, how many things should I be thinking about? And these are all the certifications of anyone that's a non-carpeted flooring product has to their name. So here's a really good way of kind of saying, am I asking for an esoteric element, or is this something that's very ubiquitous throughout the entire thing? So there's like 857 EPDs. So that's probably not too shabby there. Or BioPreferred is something that's used a lot. Floor Score is used a lot. So kind of gives you a gut check on whether or not you're asking for stuff that's readily available. And then down below, you'll see every single brand in that category and how many products they have in the space that's certified to those standards. So I will open it up to any questions you guys might have. I see some Q&A, so let me ask those. All right. The recording will be available and you can share with any colleagues you'd like. And this work is funded, basically people like the USGBC and others, they hire us to basically create versions of our platform for them. So our main platform, products@ecomedes.com, it's our main kind of mainstay product platform. It's free for everyone to use, but we make money by customizing this technology for two main groups. So I'll show you a manufacturer portal. So Miller Knoll uses our backend to manage all their sustainability data to the marketplace for all their brands. So their entire product catalog around green is all available with one click. And then when they manage it with us, all this data is then syndicated to all the other platforms. So they not only have a site for themselves and their dealers and their network, but the same data is available to people doing LEED projects and other types of examples. So we do that. We do it for Saint-Gobain, the largest construction company in the world. They have business units like Certainty to use it for all their different product categories. So ceilings division, gypsum, insulation. It just makes it easier for them to sell to folks like you, so you can document on the fly to any type of rating system that you're interested in. So if you wanted to know how this product would help with federal guidelines, LEED, so we kind of bake in all the consulting that they would normally pay us to do consulting on. They just have a technology tool that lets anyone get the answer. It shows you all the different manufacturing locations, and here are the living building challenge product questions. And then I'll show you, we customize it for big buyers. So the GSA is one of our largest customers. They have us do this for the federal government. So every federal buyer doing project work has already a pre-vetted set of products that have met the federal acquisition regulations and all the new executive orders in the Biden administration's work. So if they click on appliances and residential refrigerators for break room, this is every single refrigerator that's compliant, already been pre-vetted, and it's automatically sorted by the best energy use in the upper right-hand corner. So this is the best refrigerator of its size available to the federal buyer. So that's kind of how we make money on the buyer side. We customize our platform just to meet their guidelines. And then we do it for associations like the American Society of Interior Designers. They have this for their members. So it's all interior design focused product categories. And then we also do it for eco labels. So eco labels like BIFMA level for the furniture industry, they use our backend to do all the certification from 6 different certifying bodies. So every product from 62 brands is all in here in the same way. And again, this data is automatically sent over to all the other sites. So if I went in here and said, I'm looking for something that is BIFMA level certified for LEED, I can actually just go and hit BIFMA level. And that same database that's available on their site is available to you guys. So that's kind of the two-sided marketplace that we serve.
So if we only wanted to go to one website, should
Yeah.
we just go directly to your Ecomedes website and that pulls from all these others that are not behind a paywall?
Yeah, none of them are behind a paywall. So the only way A&D pays for our site is if we actually make you your own site. So we have a couple A&D customers that actually want a curated portal just for their brand. But other than that, no sites actually cost the A&D any money, but products.ecomedes.com is the most ubiquitous one. And you can search for products that meet LEED, WELL, IFLI, Green Globes, all in one. The same documentation is available on that site too. The USGBC one is just to support their better materials agenda, and they didn't want anybody else's rating system pulling up. And that's why when you pay us for their platform, you get to customize your platform. It still gets powered by all the same data. It's all the same, nothing stale, but you just get to control it however you want. But we've never had a client actually put in a paywall on any of their sites. Most people are like, transparency should be free. I personally believe in that as well. Brands like it just because they like to bring you back to their site to where you only see their solutions. And they get to have a better sales experience. But
Right.
you know, it's different than sending you the brochure or having a lunch and learn at your firm. But yeah, all of them are free. We don't ever charge. I'm not going to get in a position of charging the selector or the influencer or the buyer. We only charge for our technology to be deployed upon your firm because it's way cheaper. It's cheaper usually than a single entry-level associate at any firm that we go to work for. And they basically now have a tool that does the work of 100 consultants in seconds. And I can't even do any of the answers that my system does now. I'm fully made myself obsolete. So there's no more consulting I think I could do in the marketplace because the tool is a lot smarter than me. There's 5th graders that know how to use my tool with an iPad, and they can come up with a better ROI for plumbing than most consultants can in a couple hours.
Do manufacturers have to pay to submit their products to be evaluated by your tool or to be listed
No.
here?
If they're part of a certification eco label that we have listed on our platform, their data flows in automatically. They do pay if they want us to basically create a portal for them that is specific to their brand and only features the data. Now, one caveat I want to just show you is that Ecomedes is powered for like Miller Knoll. When I go in here and I go click on a product, let me show you an example. There's certification data that we have up here. This is all coming from different sources, directly from NSF, directly from SCS or whoever. But there's a lot of other data that sustainability buyers want, like ergonomics and embodied carbon and recyclability and interior material enclosure. So a lot of brands pay us so they can use our tool to bring their entire story forward into the marketplace. The other thing that, if you notice, is a lot of certifications are never down at the actual product level. They're kind of at a family or collection level. So many manufacturers trust us to do this work, so their entire SKU catalog can be put out into the marketplace. So Interface is a good example of that. They have 18,000 running line SKUs. So every single SKU you could ever buy from Interface is all available to you with one click. Every single colorway, every single price. This doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet, because they probably have their certificates out there like Green Label Plus or EPDs, but it's not going to be to that specific SKU. We do all that work to map it to the entire catalog. So that's why manufacturers will pay us to do extra work on their behalf, but we never exclude anyone from any of our databases because they're not our client. There's 10,000 brands in Ecomedes. Only about 150 manufacturers are truly our clients that pay for the back end and the front end.
That's great.
Yep. We want to make it easy, and we don't want to create a paywall for them to participate. They already paid to be part of a certification or eco-label, so they deserve to be in front of the marketplace. Yeah, we try not to have any editorial like viewpoint. The only part on products.ecomedes.com we list our brand clients on here is that this just gives you a hyperlink to their entire catalog within our tool. So it's just a faster way to get to their catalog. And many of them have just disclosed more data. A lot of the products manufacturers have only given you one or two pieces of data, like an eco label, to choose from, whereas these clients have provided you a lot more certifications, but also more data on recycled content, manufacturing locations by zip code. So we can do those calculations of where's the closest place. You'll notice up here too, we usually ping your IP address. So it'll automatically select the zip code that's associated with your IP address, and then it'll pick the closest location of manufacturer for you if you want to do LEED documentation for that credit. So there's another little bit of that. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me after today's thing. I'm going to do a quick poll really quickly to conclude our day together. Just love to know on a scale of 1 to 4, how impactful will this platform be to your work? I'd love to know that. How much time do you think this platform will save you when working on a LEED project? And whether or not you'd recommend Ecomedes to a colleague or industry partner. We love this feedback. We love to get our platform made better. Any suggestions you have, and again, if you guys want, you can share the recording of this out. If you'd like us to do a quick little 30-minute kind of training directly for your team, happy to do that too. We always get requests like that. We're always, enjoying time with the industry and finding out what else we can do to make the platform better. So thanks for filling out the poll. I really feel that is great feedback for us. I'll share it with the rest of my team back at headquarters, and I hope I get to see some of you at Greenbuild in a couple weeks. If not, let us know how we can help. My email is just paul@ecomedes.com, and be happy to walk through any other questions you guys might have offline if that's what you need. So is there anything else while we got you on the line? Just please unmute yourself. If not, I'll wish you the best of luck in your endeavors and give you guys back 5 minutes of your day. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time, and look for an email from me in the next 24 hours with the review, the slides, the link to the recording, and my contact information. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.